What's up, warriors? It is Wake Your Warrior Wednesday, or maybe not, because I don't know when you are watching or listening to this episode of the Daily Fight Podcast, but my name is Robin Tanner, and I am your host as you forge yourself to fight for your future self, to conquer your battles, to rise up above and through them, not to get over them, but to rise through them and come out the other side the person that you want to be. Not the person that you think you are or you hope to be, but the person that you want to be. So if you are in the middle of a mess, if you are going through a major life transformation or transition, whether it is personal, professional, or physical, this is the podcast for you. So as I am just starting this journey officially as a podcast, because I've been doing this for 7 years behind the scenes, quietly, privately with my coaching clients in my groups and in my fitness gym, and of course in my home, and I'm a writer at heart, so make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter, The Weekly Warrior. You can get all of the links and some free resources in the show notes, and if you haven't yet, please make sure you share, like, and subscribe this so we can grow this community of badass women rising up to fight for your future self. And if you're a dude and you're getting something out of this, I would love to hear from you too, but I really am focusing on that woman, that inner badass, and teaching you to speak up for that, and teaching you to be adaptable and to be flexible with it, because I used to be that person that was my way or the highway. And I want to talk to you about that today, and is that life and death mentality. Now, if you haven't yet, go back and catch some of the first few episodes to get a little background on me and why I'm so passionate about fighting for your future self. I was left for dead. I've been through 12 surgeries in my life, and I'll be sharing my stories with you, the behind the scenes of the grind and the grit and the heartache and the hurting and the cursing and the crying and the cheering and all of the things that go on as you are becoming your future self. And yes, I talk this fast, and yes, I am this excited all of the time, except for when I'm not. But you will always get me, because I have finally figured out how to be me, how to accept me and embrace me and not lose pieces of me that are awesome and badass, but to dial up and dial down and smooth out the edge pieces of me that are rough, that can be abrasive, that are a little too bold in the wrong direction, if you know what I mean. And one of those was my black and white mentality, all or nothing, my way or the highway, very controlling in certain things. And it caused a lot of heartache and hardship and missed opportunities and just, that defiance that kept me in a place that I didn't want to be. Now, speaking of surgeries, I recently had a surgery about 5 weeks ago, and it was one of my first surgeries where it was not life and death, and it was something that could not be determined or verified or confirmed until after the fact, until after surgery, till after pathology. In fact, it wasn't like the doctor was going to come out and be like, hey, yes, we found it and this is what it was. It literally was going to have to go to pathology before we would know 1,000% that we were right. And all too often in our journey, you probably want all the answers now. You want to know that the diet plan is going to work. You want to know that before you go on the date that this person's going to be worth your time. You want to know before you put yourself out there in the boardroom that your project, your proposal is going to be liked or accept. Like you want to know that it's going to work, right? And it just doesn't work that way. You don't get to know or become or have or do until you cross over the line, until you have faith, until you give up and let go and release the thing that you're holding on to. That's how it works. You don't get to know until you execute on the decision. And so this was one of the first times where I was, my back was not up against the wall. I wasn't in a corner. I wasn't going to die, but it was going to get worse, and it wasn't going to go away on its own. So could I endure? Should I endure it? Should I just wait for it to get worse before I took action on it, before I made a decision? Could I trust this doctor, because this is the woman that had the doctor trauma and the medical trauma and the illness and the injury trauma? Or did I trust this person? Did I feel comfortable that this surgeon, this doctor was telling me the right things? Did I trust my body? Did I feel crazy again? And this doesn't just have to be about illness or injury or anything like that for you. It could be the job or the relationship or the decisions that you're making or that you're not making. But if you're waiting until it's black and white, if you're waiting until your back is up against the corner, if you're like, oh, I'm going to wait until I procrastinate, and then boom, I have to do it because it's what I did in college and I still got an A+ because of it. Is there anybody else out there like that, or is it just me? So this was one of those decisions where I had to go, should I do this? Is it bad enough? How much more can I take? Do I wait for it to get worse? What does worse look like? And then I had this realization of, What the what? Why am I waiting for it to get worse? Why do I have to wait until my back is up against the wall? Why do I have to be pushed into a corner? Why? Why can't I go ahead and make a calculated decision based on the information that I have right now and just believe that I'm making the right decision? Believe that this doctor has my best interest in mind. Believe the feelings that I'm experiencing on the inside. And so I made the decision based off of that I didn't want to wait for it to get worse. I wanted to take action now. And so I did, and I had the surgery, and it wasn't an easy decision. I would be lying if I sat here and told you this was an easy decision to make. It wasn't. It was going to take pieces of me. It was going to put me out for a certain amount of time. You got to look at your schedule. You have to do the pro-con list, like all of the things that you're thinking, all of the what ifs. But what if it was the right time? What if it did fix it? What if it solved the problem? And moving forward, I wouldn't have to be in this pain. I wouldn't have to wait for it to progress. I wouldn't have to wait till it all surfaced and everything was unearthed and even uglier. But don't we do that in life? It's like you gotta wait until it's worse. You gotta wait until there's resentment and bitterness and guilt. You gotta wait until you have proof. You gotta wait until it's guaranteed. You gotta wait until the kids go off. You gotta wait until your boss is in the right mood. You gotta wait until your husband or your wife is in the right mood. You have to wait. You're always waiting for something to make a decision instead of just executing now. And you will hear me get so excited and passionate, not angry, but passionate. Thank you to one of my former clients. You do not have time to wait. If you are putting your life on hold, you will be sorry because the time will start going in fast motion. It'll be like in the movies when the character is standing there facing you at the TV and the movie screen and the world is rapidly going around faster and faster and faster and just passing you by while you're waiting on life and death mentality to make decisions or black and white and you're not seeing the gray area is not bad. The gray area is where you get flexible and adaptable, and you allow other ideas in. You allow yourself to be coachable and teachable. You allow yourself to compromise and see that there is a different way to get to your outcome other than putting your back up against the wall and waiting in life. Your warrior inside doesn't want to wait. Your warrior wants to fight. Your warrior wants to speak up. Your warrior wants to live out loud. And that's what I want for you, and that's what I stand for, and that is what the daily podcast is all about. Now, in my situation, it was cool. I had the surgery, and 2 days later, we find out, sure as you know what, we made the right decision. Pathology said it was bad, it was severe, it was deep. But it didn't feel that bad to me. It didn't feel that deep to me. It was something I was so tough enough, and I had so much tough exterior and strength that I could handle it. But on the other side, the pathologist was saying something different, that it was deep, that it was bad, that it was severe, that it was massive, and it needed to be done. But I would have never known that had I not gotten off my wagon of life. It's got to be life and death. It's got to be that bad before you take action. It doesn't. You can take action before it gets bad. You should take action before it gets bad. You should speak up. Oftentimes, we're not because we're afraid of what somebody else is going to think or do or leave us behind or judge us or reject us or abandon us. And I get it. I've been there, done that. Got that t-shirt lots of times. But here is who I want you to think about today, and I'll leave you with this last thought. Think about you, future you. What would she do? What would he do? Do not let that person down. Have integrity with that person. Make decisions from that point of view, from that perspective. Have honor and respect for that person. Be generous and faithful to that person. And if you are faithful to that person, then everybody else in your life, everything else in your life will play out as it should. But if you are doing it based off of the knowledge of you need to know everything now, or you got to wait until it's perfect, or you're just going to sit until you're 1,000% sure and you have all the guarantees and all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed and you've checked all the boxes, you're going to be waiting a really long time until it gets so bad that it starts affecting all of the other areas of your life. And then what happens to be a minor surgery in your life turns into be a massive one. And the recovery on the other side is a hell of a lot longer, a hell of a lot more, intense. That's not something you want. You don't want that type of invasive action in your life to have to be taken all because you didn't have the courage. You didn't practice the courage. You didn't exude the courage in your energy and in your actions. You've got it inside of you. But in order to experience it, you got to put yourself out there. And don't wait until it's life and death. Do it now, do it today. That's the daily fight. My name is Robin Tanner, and if you liked this, please rate it, subscribe it, share it with all your friends, follow me on social media, go to the show notes and grab yourself some free resources. Join our coaching community in the Rise. Be badass for your future self today. Peace out.